Nobody predicted Ozzie Guillén and Bobby Jenks would beef. Sure, the White Sox manager from 2004 to 2011 has a tendency to criticize, loudly. And sure, his closer from 2005 to 2010 was once known for his immaturity. But in their first years together, they won the World Series. What's to beef about? Oh, maybe all those other years they spent together. One reason nobody saw this beef coming, Bobby Jenks would not have a career if it weren't for the White Sox. I'll explain. With the Angels farm system in the early 2000s, Jenks could throw triple-digit fastballs. He was called the best arm in the minor leagues. But trouble with alcohol sabotaged all that talent. He fought with teammates, his manager, and allegedly a bar window that must have said something to him. He was suspended and demoted to Single A in 2002 when he wouldn't stop bringing beer on the team bus. When he needed elbow surgery in 2004, the Angels said forget it and waived him. Branded too immature for pro ball, it seemed like Jenks' career was over before it started. But the White Sox looked at the numbers, the ones on the radar gun, and the ones on the price tag, and picked the kid up off waivers. In spring training, Guillén counseled Jenks, in Guillén's own words, like a father. He encouraged Jenks to find the strength to start a new chapter, one entitled Bobby Jenks, the hero everyone likes. Chicago brought him up from the minors in July 2005. In September, he filled in for injured closer Dustin Hermanson and recorded 3 straight saves. Jenks made such a strong impression, Guillén kept playing the rookie even when the Sox went deep into the postseason. In Game 1 of the World Series, with the Sox clinging to a 4-3 lead in the 8th, Ozzie brought in Jenks. He called him by making a tall, fat guy signal, but there were no hard feelings. After the game, Bobby said he thought it was funny, probably because he was in a super good mood after the game. The big guy threw all fastballs, several in the 99 to 100 miles per hour range. He struck out 3 batters and saved Game 1 of the World Series. In World Series clinching Game 4, he got another save, bringing the White Sox their first title since 1917. And just like that, his past was erased and he took on a new identity. And as far as Guillén, you better believe winning the World Series endeared him to Chicago. When he was hired for the 2004 season, not everyone was pleased. But now, he was beloved and nobody remembered doubting him. Awash in glory, Jenks and Guillén had nothing to be upset about. But as that glory faded, something started to smell like beef. In 2007, just 2 seasons out from the World Series title, the Sox lost 90 games. Jenks was still good, but that didn't mean he was immune from Ozzie comments. Suddenly, Jenks' weight wasn't something to joke about. Instead, Guillén got blunt and sort of issued a warning. A few years later, Jenks stopped getting people out as much. His velocity was declining. In 2009, he allowed a career-high 9 home runs, then a calf injury ended his season early. Why was Jenks struggling? According to the team, his weight and lack of conditioning. This hurt Jenks' feelings. He felt like a scapegoat who had been betrayed by management. He went on to have his worst season yet. On May 9, 2010, he blew a save, giving up 4 runs and turning a 2-run lead into a 9-7 loss, causing Guillén to question his role as closer. But before Guillén could think too hard on it, Jenks injured his other calf. When he was healthy, he came back as closer. On July 21st, he blew a 1-0 lead in the 11th inning for a 2-1 loss. In his previous 4 outings, he'd given up 7 runs. Guillén took the closer spot away from Bobby, but in a supportive, tough-love kind of way. His plan was to use Bobby in non-pressure, non-save situations while he tried to regroup. Guillén later brought him back at closer, but it didn't always go so great. On August 5th, he allowed a 3-run homer in the 9th. After the game, when asked if Jenks was going to continue as closer, a frustrated Guillén said, "Ask Bobby what he wants to do." Seems Guillén was done with supportive tough love and instead just fed up. A month later, yet another injury ended Jenks' year. After the season, Guillén made some comments on a familiar topic. He didn't name names, but come on, we all know who he was talking about. The White Sox non-tendered Jenks' contract, which meant he could come back if he only wanted a little bit of money. Oh, and Guillén told him he'd have to earn the closer role in spring training. Jenks ended up signing with the Red Sox for $12 million. He had wanted to stay in Chicago and took their rejection hard. So hard, in fact, he trash-talked Guillén in the media. Seems he didn't consider his demotion from closer to be full of supportive tough love. Jenks didn't find much sympathy, because, remember, the White Sox gave him a second life. Jenks was seen as ungrateful and made himself the villain of this beef, until a new character, background character really, emerged. Let's welcome to the beef Ozzie Guillén, the middle son of Ozzie Guillén. Ozzie was drafted by his father's team in the 36th round in '07. He played 2 years in the minors where he was unsuccessful. He worked in the White Sox video department up until the spring of 2010, but he had to resign due to a Twitter outburst. When the team wouldn't let him start a website about his dad and the Sox, he tweeted that the team screwed over his family. He made fun of the team and said he didn't like the restaurant GM Ken Williams owned. He did provide a restaurant alternative if you're ever in Chicago. Ozzie was the one who asked Ozzie to resign, but he forgave him and still wanted him around. Aw, that's nice. And Ozzie still had love for the team, or at least his dad, because after Jenks leveled his complaints, Ozzie went back to Twitter, why not, to respond. He called Jenks a punk, a coward, a piece of shit, and a yellow beard-dipping idiot. I think because he dyed his beard? He claimed management helped Jenks with marital problems, drinking problems, and even covered for him when he allegedly punched an Arizona clubby. It wasn't clear if Ozzie's anecdotes were true, but it was clear he'd gone too far. Bobby might have been ungrateful, but he didn't deserve to have his secrets blabbed by a guy who shouldn't have known them in the first place. Jenks said he wasn't going to respond to Ozzie, but in the same breath, he got in a little jab, alluding to Ozzie's lack of fame or success. About 10 days later, Jenks decided to get in some sharper jabs along the same vein. And it was hard to blame Jenks for it. Probably some truth to what he was saying. But you could blame Jenks for what he said next, doubling down on his critique of Ozzie Guillén. For those who have been wondering where Ozzie and his sharp tongue have been, here they are. In a 7-minute rant, Ozzie Guillén finally responded to Jenks. And when I say responded, I of course mean attacked. He implied that what Ozzie tweeted was true, and that there was a lot more dirt out there which he was liable to spill at any moment. He accused Jenks of not working hard, which echoes his many comments about Jenks' weight and conditioning. He introduced new insults too, claiming none of Jenks' former teammates liked him enough to have his phone number, and he got a little angry. Or actually, I guess this isn't Ozzie Guillén angry. But before we got a chance to see Ozzie mad, Jenks' new manager, Terry Francona, stepped in and squashed the beef. When the White Sox next saw Bobby and the Red Sox in June 2011, Jenks said he regretted his comments about his former manager. And his former manager said he loved him. So, yeah, beef over. Kind of abrupt, right? But this beef was never going to linger. Their partnership started in glory, giving both guys a second career, Jenks as a dominant closer, Guillén as a dominant manager. But relations soured as the team started losing and the big guy's fastball slowed. When it was time for the partnership to end, tempers flared and that sourness let loose, with a little help from a background character. But that's all that needed to happen. The beef got to its hottest point and instead of exploding, melted away. Perhaps because the resentments and nasty comments weren't enough to overtake the good times, which were as good as they could possibly be. Special thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for partnering with us on this video. If you're a gambling man or woman, check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They're giving all new players a deposit bonus up to $1,000 with their first deposit. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, check out the parlays and player props, then watch another beef history while you wait for the games to wrap up. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at $1 million in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code SECRETBASE, all one word, bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. Again, that's promo code SECRETBASE. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $5 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.